welcome back to The Current on the Course. Yesterday, we sat down with Josh Jepson, CFO of Deere & Company.
Now, he spoke about Deere's extension as title sponsor through the year 2030, but the community connection goes so much further than just the name of the tournament, and that's why we are joined by Mara Downing, Deere's Vice President for Global Brand and Communications. Mara, thank you so much for joining us again. Before we get into the serious questions that we have for you, I want to talk about yesterday. You played in the Pro-Am, is that right?
I did. I had so much fun. We had a great time out there. It was a little warm. We had early morning tea time, though, so that was good.
Yeah. And how did you do? Because I think you did pretty well.
You know what? I'm thrilled to say we were 15 under, so a top 5 finish.
There you
I
go.
think 18 under 1, so it'll keep me coming back for next year anyway.
Very nice.
Well, Mara, we know that John Deere and this tournament means so much to this community here. Can you talk about the connection from your point of view between this tournament and the QCA?
You know, it's 1 week that makes me so proud to be a John Deere employee and a Quad citizen. And you think about all the people that come out to support this fabulous event, from the volunteers, over 2,000 volunteers from this community. And proud to say that John Deere employees represent about 25% of those volunteers. And so everybody shows up in a meaningful way. You know, last year we actually won Most Engaged Community from, it's an award the PGA Tour awards every year. And it's just one of those things that we're so proud of in terms of how our community shows up and supports this incredible event.
You guys have always tried to make this event, especially in recent years, bigger, better, concerts on the course, a great example of that. Can you talk a little bit about the impact that's had on the tournament and the community?
Well, it's been incredible. You know, we wanted to do something because not everybody plays golf. You know, it's and so it's a niche sport, and so we wanted to make sure that the whole community knew that they were welcome, and we wanted folks out at the course. And so the concerts have brought in the broader community base, and I would say we're attracting people as far away as St. Louis and Chicago. And people are saying, hey, I'm not just going to come for a day, but I might stay the whole weekend, which is fabulous. That's exactly what we were looking for.
Yeah, the economic impact goes so much further than just this weekend. But if you could look into the future, you think about adding concerts 3 years ago. What else do you envision adding and growing this as the years go on?
Oh my goodness, every year we actually start brainstorming immediately after the event ends of what are we going to do next year? How can we make this even more special? And, you know, one thing I'm really proud of this year is the field that we've been able to attract. And I think the concerts have something to do with that, you know, with all the people who come to the tournament and show up and support and just the fan base. Players have said to us there are more fans here than at some of the elevated events, which really makes us proud. And so we're just going to continue to build on that success and continue to look for ways to bring in new and exciting acts and strengthen our field.
So just personally, I'm just dying to know if you could have any musical act come next year, who are you bringing in?
Oh my goodness, that's a tough one. So there are 3 that are at the top of my list, and I
Okay.
know 2 are real long shots. And so Taylor Swift would be amazing, right? If we could have Taylor Swift, that would be incredible. I would also love Chris Stapleton. I think that he would be a great ad. And I think Old Dominion has a fun vibe. So
You know what? Well, Dirk Bentley played at the Vibrant, and now he's coming out here.
Yes.
And Old Dominion also played at the Vibrant recently, so maybe it's a pattern.
That would be great. Yes.
That would be perfect, actually.
Yes.
Let's talk about just the brand in general, its connection to golf. How does that connection work, and how does that really spread even beyond this community and internationally even?
You know, our partnership with the PGA Tour has really been incredible. We signed our agreement over 25 years ago now, and we were just getting started in the golf business at that point in time. And it was primarily a domestic business. And now outside the U.S., we've continued to grow and expand in our golf and utility equipment business. And the partnership with the PGA Tour, it's been great. We've grown together as they've expanded their global presence as well.
Well, Mara, this has nothing to do with golf, but you personally, you have a really cool family connection to John Deere. Can you talk about that?
So I'm a proud third-generation John Deere employee. My grandfather worked for the company, and so did my father. And then specific to the tournament, because I think it does carry over, my father's been volunteering for 28 years. He's 87 years old. And he gets excited. He's here at 6 o'clock every morning to volunteer. It's incredible. So that's a lot of fun. And my sister was the tournament chair, the volunteer chair, a couple of years ago. So really neat family connections throughout the event and of course, to the company.
And speaking of families, you get a front row seat to how this gets pulled off. Not just the volunteers, but everything that happens in the year preceding. It is the signature event of the Quad Cities. How proud are you, and what do you see that maybe we don't see that happens to make this happen?
Well, as John Deere employees, we are so proud to put this on. And like I said, the planning begins immediately after the event ends. We're already planning for the next year. But it's one of those things where employees are eager to be a part of it and want to know how can I get involved and how can I support the event. And so, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. Deere personally has 3 waves of customers who come in for the event. And so there's a lot of work coordinating all of those logistics and details because it's a global customer base coming here. In fact, throughout the week, we have around 2,000, 2,500 guests, suppliers, customers who come to support the event and attend the John Deere Classic.
And to learn a little bit about the company as well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a great opportunity for our brand to be on full display and for people to learn more about our manufacturing operations and just who we are as a company and what our brand stands for.
Amazing. Mara, thank you so much for your time. We know you're very busy out here. We really appreciate you stopping by.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, my colleague Ava Hedges has been having some adventures around the JDC course, and she showed us this morning on GMQC.
But since I'm here at TPC Deer Run, I decided to take my break walk to the course. So our 11 a.m. producer, JC, and I, we went together. I recorded it on my Strava app, which is like a running app. Take a look. It took us just over an hour and a half. And at almost 5 miles long, we racked up a whopping 9,900 steps.
Wow.
Look at that. Now, granted, it was kind of like the blind leading the blind. So maybe we had a couple extra steps in there trying to figure out where to go. But yeah, so we walked where the golf carts go in the spectator course around. And that took us just about an hour and a half of walking time. But of course, I stopped to speak to some people on my way. And we met some really awesome people. So these are the volunteers who make it possible each year, and each are here for a different reason. For example, Steve Waller. He's a Quad City native from East Moline who now lives in Rock Island. He's a first-year marshal at the course near the end of the second hole, and he says he got involved because he gets to watch golf all day. But don't let that fool you. He takes his duties very seriously and even taught me a thing or two about his job.
I'm gonna coach you on this. Like a rat would coach you. Okay. Go, come on, gotta hurry. Move it. Don't tangle up the rope. Okay. Don't tangle it up. You're walking in the thing, get more closer off the course. Oh, you're on the wrong side of the rope.
Oh no. Okay, wait. Now this is the big moment, right? You gotta bring it this way.
Yep.
Well, he had me stressed out there for a little bit, but he gave me a 10 out of 10 for my skills. But get this, he also gave me his best golf clap, which he says needs to be, quote, not a sissy clap, but quiet. So take a listen.
Okay, so give us your best golf clap. Go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you. Perfect.
And Steve was awesome to talk to. And what's most interesting is, get this, he says his mustache also has a name, and it's Cornelius. So make sure you say hi to Steve and Cornelius if you find yourself out near the second hole. Well, we also met another QC native and Channel 8 viewer, Mike Drymiller from Moline, and his grandson Samuel from Dubuque. Now, he says he's been a volunteer on and off since 1975 and remembers when the Classic wasn't as big as it is today. This year, Mike is spending the Classic trying to get his grandson into golf. And like Steve and Mike, plenty of volunteers are here because they love golf, but some are here because their company requires them to have volunteer hours. And we even talked to a JDC intern. Her name was Ellie, and she was near hole 6. So if you're out and about, stop and say hi to the TPC Deer Run Marshals. They're the people who make it happen.
Yeah, so many volunteers, and they make it go off without a hitch every year.
I know, and they do a great job, and they're just great people to talk to.
Yeah.
Well, now this is the moment that I've been waiting for to share with you guys.
Yes.
So I went to the store yesterday.
Show us that swag.
Here we go. Okay, so there are tons of different golf polos, and a lot of these I'm sending home to family, because my family's from the East Coast, so I was able to find some really nice polos. Take a look at that.
Nice.
Yes, and actually one of them's for my boyfriend, so hey, if you're watching, don't look, because this is your birthday present.
Cover your eyes.
But yes, a lot of these going home to my family back on the East Coast. I will say, a bit pricey, but it's worth it. It's very worth it.
It's an experience.
Yes, and of course, I thought this one was really cool. So this is a John Deere shirt, and on the back, this is my favorite part. It has the TPC Deere Run.
Look at that.
It says Silvis, Illinois on it. It's just got that iconic John Deere Classic logo on there. And that one's for my little brother. So I can send him
love
something
that.
too. And of course, you know, you've got your beer koozies.
Gotta
get a
have
koozie.
the beer
You gotta get a
koozies,
koozie
yes.
or two. Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, I bought something for myself. I got this really cool pint glass. Maybe I should have unwrapped this before we started. Maybe I'll work on that for the second hit.
There's some
But
ASMR bubble
I
popping.
promise it's a pint glass. We'll get that out for the second hit we do this. And then I just had gotten, you know, a little sticker, and I bought myself a JDC pin. So it's very cool.
They have a lot of neat stuff in that
They
store.
really do. I'll tell you what, though, I had to take out a loan for all of this.
Yeah, it can get a little expensive.
It can definitely get pretty pricey. I'm pretty sure this whole thing was close to $300 if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So
it adds up
if you're
quick.
going in there, but of course there are options that are a lot less money.
yeah.
But I had to go all out for my family.
Yeah,
to make
there's-
sure I could send some stuff home.
Like you said, there's price points for everybody. I mean,
Exactly.
that's where the giant golf ball came from. You can get that. They even have the little actual golf balls that I get every year for the collector's piece.
That's right.
It's got the year. So if you know this is your first time, or maybe you're here every year, I think it's like $3.85 for one of those golf balls.
Yes, yeah, very, very
Yeah.
affordable for that.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's a great place to be. We're talking about heat and humidity this week. It is so nice and cool in there. And they've
Yeah.
got a really nice playlist going.
They
so
do.
I noticed that when I was inside there.
I learned so much from Ava's segment. Oh, and also stock up on as much as you can, I hear. So she's going to be out and about today and tomorrow as well. So if you see her, make sure you say hi.
Says he loves all the people out here at the TPC Deere Run, and that's what keeps him coming back.
My friends were volunteering, and I asked them what it was about, and they told me what a great time it was and what a wonderful organization it is, and the John Deere Classic, and what it gives back to the community. So I thought I better get out there too. You meet so many people, you see people all day that care about our community, and it's just a wonderful community event.
Paul loves being at the 18th hole volunteering, especially on Sunday to see the people and the concert, of course.
Way every single time. Thank you so much for your
That
time.
was very kind. Thank you, Shelby. Thank you, John.
Absolutely.
To the 19th hole, year after year, many of the same volunteers dedicate their time and efforts to the John Deere Classic.
It's easy to see the friendships out around the course, but those friendships extend off the course too. Jenna Webster joins us live to show us a reunion a year in the making. Hey, Jenna.
Yeah, guys, last year when I was out here, I did a story here in the volunteer tent with the volunteers who are in charge of making sure all the volunteers around the course get their lunch delivered to them. Well, last year there was a very important person missing from her role, and we are very glad to see her back in her seat again this year.
We do have drinks. There's
inside the volunteer tent.
1, 2, 3, and
Organization is down to a T.
I'm just putting glue.
And the ladies at the helm know a thing or two about getting lunch out the door.
Hey, wait a minute.
Even earning Sherry Bradley a nickname, the Ticket Nazi.
It's true.
It helps when the Sherry Sue duo have volunteered together for 10 years.
Partners in crime. Partners in crime, that's right.
Partners in crime, reunited after a year apart.
My hair's shorter, but I'm back.
Last year, Bradley's seat as the ticket taker
I might put your sticker on there just
was filled by someone else.
You're gonna make me cry. I didn't. I miss the people. Mostly, yeah. It's been nice seeing everybody again.
In February 2024,
sorry.
Bradley was diagnosed with stage 4 endometrial cancer.
My last day of chemo, when they first told me what was going on, I said, okay, well, if I don't do any treatment, how long would I have? And they all looked at each other and they said 5 to 6 months.
It wasn't a question she'd do the treatment, but it meant she had to sit out the classic.
The pyramid?
But every day,
That's why I knew she'd find the pictures before me.
Sue and the rest of the volunteer tent team
Is it just these two?
made sure she felt part of the tournament.
And they put little Vicky on top.
But it doesn't beat being back for the real thing.
Good to see you too. Good to be seen.
This year, a welcome back hug is served as a side with lunch.
We're so glad to have her back.
The ticket Nazi back in her seat.
And I can tell when they're lying. Can I have you do a note?
And a duo back in step again.
Sorry.
Now, Sherry says she is cautiously optimistic about her health. It's not a cancer that can be cured, but she says it can be managed. In fact, she actually still receives an immunotherapy infusion every 3 weeks. She was supposed to receive one on her schedule this week, but she asked her doctors in Iowa City to push it back a week so she could be back here at the Classic. And we are so happy that she is.
So when the 2025 John Deere Classic winner is named on Sunday and the trophy presentation begins, it's all kicked off by a very distinct sound.
That's right. So we're going to show you. This is what it looks like from high above. It's super small, but you can see right down there in the bottom corner of your screen, that is a bagpipe player leading a group of flag bearers down the 18th hole fairway. And we are so excited to welcome Derek Grant, the Classic's resident bagpipe expert, to the current. Derek, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, glad to be here.
When and why did you start playing bagpipes?
We immigrated to America when I was a little boy from Scotland. And when I was 10 years old, my mother asked me if I wanted to take bagpipe lessons from a friend of theirs in Cedar Rapids. Well, being a 10-year-old kid, I didn't think that was something like a good time, so I didn't start playing bagpipes then. But my mother never pressed the issue either. And I met my wife after my mother died, and that couple from Scotland came to our wedding, and we had bought me a kilt and hired a local bagpiper, Bill Lee, and that couple, Kenneth and Margaret McLeod from Scotland, were going back to retire in Scotland, and Kenneth says, "Well, I didn't play these bagpipes anymore. You may as well have them." So I got a set of bagpipes off of Kenneth and a book of music and a practice chanter, and I called our piper for our wedding and said, "Bill, I want to start learning on this," and that was 1991.
And then how did you get involved with the John Deere Classic?
Well, in 1993, our local Scottish Society of the Quad Cities, approached the tournament when it was still at Oakwood, and said, well, Scotland is the home of golf. There should probably be some representation of Scotland at the tournament. So in 1993, the tournament, they started having a bagpiper, and it was a local piper, Dr. Kirk Witherspoon, and local flag bearers, members of our society, who all have since sadly died, Charles Thompson, Chick Thompson, John Tennant, and Jim Scott. And then just started a tradition there on Sunday morning for the memorial service, have the bagpipes and the flags come up the fairway, and then they do a little memorial service for the volunteers that have passed away since the last tournament. And then they have a singer that comes and she sings Amazing Grace, and then I'll play a few tunes on the bagpipes. And then on Sunday afternoon, come back, and we all gather down on the 18th, and then just wait for our turn, and the tournament official's down there and gets a radio call and says, "Okay, go." And then I pipe up to the verge of the green, and they all stand there while the trophy's presented. And I started in 2003 with the duty. Long story short, Bill Lee played pipes for it, and his wife Peggy Lee has played for it. And then in 2003, I got the opportunity, and I've just done it ever since.
Been here ever since. When you are walking down the 18th, I mean, I get goosebumps every time. The sound is incredible, and everyone is silent and watching you. Is there a lot of pressure in that moment?
Yeah, it is. You want to start the bag. You want to inflate the bag and not make anything squeak or squeal. You want to have a good steady tone on the drones and then play your tune correctly. But my wife always says, 98% of people can't tell one bagpipe tune from another. So you're kind of worrying for no reason.
You are such an important part of this. Yeah. Not only the part that maybe we all see at the 18th hole at the end of the tournament, but the other parts that you described. How special is that you've been part of it now for 22 years?
Oh, I feel very honored to be able to do it every year. I always await the email from someone in the office asking me if I'm available, and I usually mark the date off on the calendar ahead of time, so I'm ready to go.
So you're always a little hopeful that that email's coming.
Oh yeah.
Okay, it's not guaranteed necessarily.
Not guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed.
Oh, I love it. Okay, well, we want to tell people at home, unfortunately, we're not going to have Derek play the bagpipes right now because, as you can see, we are directly over top of the 18th green, and players are still out there right now, and the bagpipes are very loud. But I am so curious, how do you play the bagpipes?
Well, you just, it's got a leather bag for an air reservoir, and you just inflate the bag through the blow stick. And then when you get enough air in there, you just give them a little squeeze, and that starts to air up the drones. It makes that background droning noise. And then you squeeze it a little harder, and that makes the chanter reed vibrate. And then just play the melody on the melody chanter. You're just uncovering the holes on the chanter. It's only a 9-note scale, So it's kind of restricted with, I've been asked to play the national anthem at things. That's not a possibility because you go too high above the bagpipe scale.
So you're balancing the air in the bag, blowing into it, and also the notes.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it takes a little while to get your technique, to get everything, to get a good steady pressure, and then have the tunes memorized, and then to play well.
Wow.
And do you play events around town as well?
Yeah, I'll be tomorrow morning. I'll be in East Moline for the Firecracker 5K.
Oh yes.
And then our band, our pipes and drums, will be in the East Moline 4th of July parade tomorrow afternoon. And then Saturday I have a wedding to pipe at down in Alpha, Illinois. And Sunday I'll be back here.
So you're staying busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are in demand. Before we let you go, Derek, what is your advice if someone wants to get into bagpipes?
Come to our practice on a Thursday night at Christ Anglican Church in Moline, and we'd be happy to have anybody that wants to learn bagpipes or drums. We always in need of drummers too. So I'd be, everybody's always welcome. We don't charge for our lessons, which is kind of antithetical to a Scot, not to charge for services rendered. But
I love it.
we have some young kids in the band right now that are just learning, and then we have our core group of experienced bagpipers that kind of show them the way.
Has there been anyone that has nudged you and said, hey, when you are ready to hang up the bagpipes, I want to do that?
No, not really. Nobody from our band has said that. No.
Oh my goodness.
They
just see how hard you work.
Great job, yeah. Derek, thank you so much for coming on. Of all the years that I watched you come down the fairway, it just blows me away every single time. Thank you so much for your
Appreciate
time.
That was very kind. Thank you, Shelby. Thank you, John.
Yeah, thanks, Derek.
Absolutely.
All right, let's take a look at our fan of the day out here at Deere Run. Meet the Ruff siblings. Colin, Bryn, and Addie are big golf fans and have loved getting autographs from their favorite golfers during the JDC. All three play golf. The oldest, Colin, says his favorite club is his driver, while 9-year-old Bryn prefers her 7-iron. As for 6-year-old Addie, she just loves golf in general.
Loves watching the golfers and doing the fun stuff in the fan zone. It's been really fun.
Yesterday at the Pro-Am, we just spent like half of the day in the fan.
What was your favorite thing?
I love watching the golfers play and like
getting the pictures with John Deere.
She has a brand new hat too. She hasn't cut tags off yet. We're so glad they're enjoying the JDC and learning more for their game of golf.
On the course. Yesterday, we sat down with Jefferson, CFO of Deere &
We
Company.
spoke about Deere's extension as time through the year 2030, but the community can then just the name of the joined by Mara Downing. Deere's in for global brand and communications. Mara, thank you once again. Before we get into the questions that we have for you, I want to talk in the program. Is that right?
I did. I had fun. We had a great time out there. It was a little morning tea time, though, so that was good.
What did you do? Because I think you did pretty well.
You were thrilled to say we were 15 under, so I did 18 under 1, so